The number of the day for the Denver Broncos is 10, and no, not like the Bo Nix tattoo I'm going to get on my chest when we make the playoffs. No, not like the month of October, which did I already tell you? Sean Payton is the winningest coach in the month of October in NFL history, and that's just going to continue this week. Not 10 like the number of games we have remaining, but I'm saying 10 wins is what is going to get this Denver Broncos team to the playoffs, and 2 of those wins or games upcoming just got a lot easier as star players from those teams are on the trade block. I'm going to break down why that's a great thing, why I think a 10-win season for this Denver Broncos is very, very doable, and so much more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm Ben. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan. It helps me and the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos too, if you would like and subscribe. We have come nowhere close to seeing the ceiling for what this Denver Broncos offense could be. We're eating the bulk of Russell Wilson's dead cap money. We don't have explosive receiving talent on this team, and yet the Denver Broncos are the 6th most explosive offense in the NFL when you look at the percentage of explosive plays that they've had through the first 7 weeks. And why I think this number is absolutely phenomenal and very, very exciting is that we haven't even begun to see the offensive genius that Sean Payton is. We started to see it this last week with Marvin Mims lined up as a running back like they used Deebo Samuel in San Francisco. We started to see it with the motion that we're starting to add, but we know Sean Payton is revealing bits and chunks of this playbook each and every week for Bo Nix, and I love the fact that we just had this 10-day mini-bye to get healthy and for Sean Payton to scheme up some incredible, incredible stuff. And so you look here that, yes, we're in the top 6 first 7 weeks for explosive plays on offense. And so don't sleep on this offense. We're already explosive, and we haven't even seen the half of it yet. I think the other reason this is a really exciting statistic is we've played 3, maybe 4 like elite defenses. Like I think Seattle week 1, if we play them again, if we had a chance to play them again, I think we look like a drastically different team to get them early on. The Steelers, we saw what they just did to the Jets offense, which went out and has loaded up with one of the best running backs in the league in Devontae. We saw what the Chargers offense or defense is capable of. And so we were able to be the 6th most explosive team in the NFL with a rookie quarterback playing against elite defenses. Let's see what happens when we play the Panthers this week. Let's see what happens when we see the Myles Garrett-less Browns. Let's see what happens when we get another crack at the Raiders after they sell off Crosby. So this is a really, really encouraging thing. But not to outdo myself, but man, this one hit hard. So this graphic just was shared out on the 33rd team. And this is teams who, when you take the points scored against them and the points scored for them, who has more than a 30-point differential. The fact that the Broncos have been in 1-score losses in all of their losses, and then blowouts for some of their games. In fact, absolutely demolishing Tampa, who looked incredible on Monday Night Football last night, demolishing the Saints, who were a really hot team. Look at this, that you look at here with a team that is eating so much of Russell Wilson's dead cap money. We have been purged of first-round draft picks through trading for Sean Payton, through trading for Russell Wilson, and yet look at us, that we are one of very few teams, again, going against elite defenses, and yet we have scored at least 30 more points than the teams going against us have scored on us, and that has you insanely hyped that we're not just good right now, we're going to be good from now on, because in addition to already being good right now, we also are in the top 10 for how much cap space we're going to have next year. And the year after that, watch out, because we are totally out on the Russell Wilson deal, and the sky really starts to be the limit after that. So all of that is extremely, extremely exciting. And the fact that we need to now, over our next 10 games, I think we need to go 6-4 to guarantee a playoff spot. According to The Athletic, if we go 9-8, that would be an improvement off last year, a huge improvement over what all the haters said about us. But a 9-8 record would probably only give us about a 40% chance of making the playoffs. It's probably out of our hands at that point, and you need the Colts to fall off and lose. You probably need the Steelers to drop off. You need the Chargers to keep losing, and their schedule is just cake from here on out. And so I would love 10 wins. I think it locks us in as a playoff team. So I want us to hit that 10-win mark. So anything that happens with the team that we have coming up to mortgage and get rid of any player on that team that scares you is a huge win for us. And as we keep going through the season, I'm going to tell you what teams you need to be rooting for each week for the Broncos playoff chances, but just know that if there's a team coming up and they have a star player and they ship him out, that is a huge win for us. And so along those lines, we saw the Raiders already do that. Davante Adams shipping him out for a third-round draft pick. We saw the Jets. There's no way the Jets end up making the AFC Championship game, and so there's no way Davante Adams ends up being a second pick. That's going to be a third. And now there are a ton of rumors that Maxx Crosby, who's the only player on that Raiders team left who scares you, I think he has had a sack of a Broncos quarterback in every game he's ever played the Broncos in. And truly, he's a terrifying man. I would love for him to be out of our division for this year and for the Raiders rebuild. Let's just never have to face him again. And with the Detroit Lions losing out on Aiden Hutchinson, this is now a real rumor that's circulating, so we can root for that. And when that happens, man, nobody will be partying like we are in Denver to get this guy out of our division. And I also think that would truly start the tanking conversation even more. I don't think Maxx Crosby has an inch of tanking in his entire body, and so that would scare me. Next thing that is also good on that is, I thought I had it up here. The Cleveland Browns are fielding calls for Myles Garrett. Again, with them losing Deshaun Watson, the only player on that Browns team who scares you is Myles Garrett. That defense is good, although we beat them last year with a much inferior team. I would just love a chance to play the Browns later in the season without Myles Garrett. So we can root for both Crosby and Myles Garrett to be on the move. But then the question becomes, hey, if we're going to make the playoffs this year, why not start to add to the talent? And so there is some speculation out there that the Denver Broncos could be in the market for another wide receiver or a tight end. And we've talked somewhat about that. But the name that got put on the trading block today is that former Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp, an amazing slot machine type corner. He is different, or receiver. He's different than any receiver build wise that we have on this team now. His route running is immaculate. His footwork is incredible. He is a real team first type of dude, a great culture fit. And it's sounding like they want a second round draft pick. Let me know in the comments, how would you feel about the Broncos going out and getting him? As I hear about Mike Williams or these other big-bodied receivers, I'm like, man, we already have 3 of those dudes on our team. But I would be down with getting a receiver who's totally different and fits a different mold. I remember during the offseason, we had Michael Bandy as that slot receiver, and he played an incredible preseason and was like a camp darling, and people loved him and said he was going to make the 53. And we have yet to see him play meaningful time with the Broncos this year. I think a second-round draft pick for an aging wide receiver who has a bad injury past, coming off an ankle injury now, that seems like a pretty steep price to pay for a wide receiver. But let me know in the comments, if we're going to make the playoffs now, why not go all in and get him? But a second-round draft pick, when we've seen how good George Payton is drafting and just seeing all these dudes who are hitting, it's kind of like, do we want to risk giving up a second-round draft pick for him? Other thing here is with Brandon Ayuk going out, hearing that the San Francisco 49ers offered us a third-round draft pick for Courtland Sutton earlier in the year or in the preseason. Now that they are down a wide receiver 1, might they be trying to pony up for Courtland Sutton again? What would it take for you as a Broncos fan to part with Courtland Sutton, knowing that he is coming towards the end of his contract? And, there were some contract negotiations going out, a little bit of a mini holdout for him. I love Courtland Sutton. I did a video of him after the Saints game and just feel like he is a culture builder and a huge part of our chemistry and success. So I wouldn't want anything less than a first-round draft pick for Courtland, which sounds wild when Davante only got a third-round draft pick. But if the 49ers are willing to give us a first-round draft pick, would you entertain the thought of shipping off Courtland Sutton for that? Either way, this is an exciting time, guys. We are great winnable game against the Carolina Panthers. I think the Broncos are going to be 2 games over 500 with a winning record on the road, going into Baltimore with all the confidence in the world, as we should have, because this Denver Broncos team is different. The winning culture is stamped all over it, and that's something we can all believe in. Oh. Come on, I needed that.